as the market pops up on 2nd May 2022. The musk deer is an endangered species. They are different from the deer family in that they have no antlers, but they carry a musk gland. And this renders them much sought after by the perfume industry. With a $44 billion acquisition of Twitter, will Elon Musk also be much sought after? The first statement he made post-acquisition was to project the freedom of expression by paying a consideration which is more than half of Sri Lanka's GDP. And while highlighting this freedom of expression, he touched upon the open source algorithm that Twitter uses to maybe even block the accounts of the likes of Donald Trump. Does it not sound ironical that he himself had attempted to scuffle and stifle the handle when he was pilloried on the platform, not in the distant past? Will this render him an endangered species too? The markets are finding it difficult to chart directions amidst spiraling prices and depleting inventory, be it petroleum, metals, or commodities. The Nasdaq 100 staged a smart recovery on Thursday to close at 13,456. The dollar index climbed to 103, though the US GDP data for the last quarter reflected a shrinking by 1.4%. Gold traded lower at $1,916 an ounce, while Brent climbed to $109 per barrel. The benchmark 10-year bond yield of the United States was lower at 2.86%. Indian rupee closed almost unchanged from last week at 76.45, though there was considerable volatility intraday. The dollar reserves have consistently fallen by about $3 billion per week during the last week or so, and the reserves stood at $600 billion. In the coming week, RBI could be seen defending 7650. The RBI report on currency and finance has released today evening has recorded that surplus liquidity will fuel inflation. And it has calibrated this inflation rise at 60 basis points for every percentage point rise in liquidity over 1.5% of the NETL of the banking system. The report also postulates that the debt to GDP ratio need to be brought below 66% for sustainable growth, at least in the next 5-year horizon. But this ratio has consistently climbed above 66 since 2011 and is presently at 75%. Will the government be able to divest LIC every year in attempting to bring down this ratio? So it may sound utopian. The 10-year benchmark yield was at 7.14%, while the 3-year interest rate swap point remained higher at 6.29%. In the closing moments of trading, the stock indices lost whatever support they were having, and the Nifty closed lower at 17,102. Have an interesting week ahead.